Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. Rowpaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Now here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, what's going on? Happy Tuesday morning to you. BJ Rains here with BroncoNationNews.com. We got Jay Tust, Sports Director at KTVB. It's Tuesdays with Tust here as we recap the weekend. We actually had no show Monday with Johnny as I was flying back from Myrtle Beach. So this is the first time since the weekend, the football game, the basketball team that we've had a chance at BroncoNationNews.com to kind of recap a crazy couple of days. And Jay, it's Thanksgiving week. It's Tuesday, kind of a little bit of a lighter week, so to speak, but a busy day today with football and basketball interviews. Happy Tuesday, man. How's it going?
I'm good. I feel like this week's supposed to be a lighter week, but it never is. Because
Friday game at 10 a.m., that cuts off some time. You got Thanksgiving. Yeah. Obviously, but it has a weird feeling, that I guess I'm going to see my family today for the first time in 6 weeks, so that's nice.
Let's go.
Maybe that's why, but I will be filling in today, by the way, from 3 to 6 with Mike Prater on KTIK. So the exact time my kids get home at 3 o'clock, I get to spend 3 hours on the radio with Mike Prater. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun time. But I am going to be filling in for anybody that wants to listen today. Maybe we'll throw my kids on the air. We'll see what happens. But, the Rains family will be back for a few days. I know we got the Tust Thanksgiving coming up as well. But obviously, there is still a lot going on, Jay, and we appreciate you for coming on as always, man.
Yeah, the Friday 10 a.m. game, I essentially lose 2 edit days. I mean, this is a Thursday game to me. And unfortunately, Thursday's Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving, but it just makes it an interesting week. And then tonight, the return of the Mayor's Cup, NNU, College of Idaho, round 1. Can't wait.
Somebody was saying the video is not showing up in the subscriptions page. I think I did forget to tag that this morning, so I'm doing that real quick while we speak. I apologize for that if you're looking in a different spot on YouTube where it normally is. But, Jay, obviously when we talked on Friday morning, it was after the basketball team had scored 11 points. We will talk football a little later in the show, but I do want to start with basketball. They had the more recent game on Sunday. We kind of did 30 minutes on what we thought needed to change, and I would say that we knew what we were talking about, and everything changed. And if you watched our show, it was perfect stuff because Boise State ends up winning the next 2 games, and what a difference 72 hours makes from when we were doing that show Friday to the feeling now after they beat Loyola Chicago pretty handedly, and then beat Colorado, a nice win as well on Sunday night. So a nice bounce back for the Broncos down in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen that we're right. It probably rarely happens that we're right. But I will say, if you go back and you listen to that Friday show, a lot of what we were talking about played out. Namely, Chibuzo Abo. He was when it came to at least scoring the basketball his first 3 games, he was not good. Gave you a lot of reasons to believe that was going to change. And then lo and behold, the very first game after we wrapped up last Friday's show, he went off. Had a game high 24 points, led him to a nice victory over Loyola. His scoring production kind of fell back off against Colorado, but Marcus Shaver Jr. was fantastic. And I was looking this up amongst, trying to prep for the pregame show for football last week, but I couldn't believe it. Marcus Shaver Jr. is the #1 defensive rebounder in the Mountain West Conference right now. A generously listed 6'2" point guard at Boise State is averaging more defensive rebounds per game than any other player in the league at the moment.
two double doubles already.
That's crazy. And it's he looked good, man. He looked good. He looked confident. It definitely seems like the team's figuring out a little bit more of a flow. One thing I loved about I love the aggressiveness we saw at Tyson Dagenhart. I mean, especially against Loyola, he went to work in the paint, and I feel like getting him some of those easy touches, those easy buckets, like you get to see like from the get-go. I think in each game, BJ, he had like 2 buckets in the paint in like the first like couple minutes of the game, and you could just see like I think that built his confidence, it got him involved, and I mean it's like baseball, right? Like if you get a hit in your first at bat, you're playing with house money basically the rest of the night because you're not going to be hitting any worse than 250, and 250 in baseball, it's not that bad. Mostly you probably think you're even 1 for 3, but in basketball, you come out and kind of make your first couple shots. You step into those next few knowing that, hey, you probably got a little house money with them. So once those go in, confidence is through the roof. It'll be fun to see where this team goes. They sit 3-2 now, and finally they get to come back home, and finally they get to play. I mean, I know Leon won't say this, and none of the players will, but they get to play like competition that is at least somewhat what you would probably normally play this time of year, not these teams that will be contending for NCAA bids.
Sure. I think Utah Valley is probably a little bit similar to like a Charlotte. They're in the same number wise.
Yeah.
It's the game that it's not going to be it shouldn't be a 30-point cakewalk, but that is a game you need to win at this point in the season, probably. It was we had Marcus Shaver Jr. on our Lithia Florida Boise post game show on Sunday after the game, and I mentioned to him that he's the #3 leading rebounder in the entire conference. And he just started laughing. He couldn't believe that. He's averaging 9 a game, as you said, overall 9 rebounds a game. He's already had two double doubles. I wonder if we're going to get a chance where he could push for a triple double at some point. Can he get to 10 assists a game?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to get 10 assists in a game, at least one game this year. I mean, he's kind of running the show out there this year. He's got the ball in his hands a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if things kind of click for him and he pushed for a triple-double. Heck, it seems like a senior night thing. I don't know who they play on senior night.
San Diego State.
I was going to say, yeah, I think they got a good opponent on senior night. So, I don't know. You figure there's going to be one of those games in there where he might be kind of close and 8 assists or whatever in the final, 5 minutes, and they let him try to go get it or something.
Hey, it was a fun trip, though. First time to Myrtle Beach, was there about 5 days. It was a fun trip. I do want to thank Coach Rice. They gave us plenty of access for making the trip and making it worth it. He gave me game day interviews for the second and third day earlier in the day and let me sit in on a film session one of the days, and it was very, very generous, so appreciate it. Even gave me a ride at 4 a.m. to the airport on the bus the other day since they saw me in the lobby and I was going to get an Uber, and they're like, what, just get on the bus. So I was like, all right, thanks. So
that's hilarious.
So I appreciate them taking care of me out there, and hopefully folks thought the content was good, the access was good, and I think it was a successful trip for Bronco Nation News going out there.
I'm not saying one way is the right way or the wrong way, but didn't you have RJ Keene on one of your pregame shows?
We had him on the 2 games they won. We had him on. Okay. We were supposed. Well, say what you were going to say first. Go ahead.
The juxtaposition amongst how certain sports and coaches handle stuff like that versus others it's comical. I don't know. It's weird. It's just
it's welcomed by the basketball team. I'll say that.
It is. Yeah. So
we were 13 minutes from tip-off, and I had an active player on the roster just sitting there next to me courtside talking. He was supposed to come on the first game. We didn't get it approved all the way and stuff, and so it didn't happen the first game. Then they lost, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not sure we want to be joking around before tip-off. Leon may not be in a good mood, and he's like, and how Leon is. He's like, just don't let him say anything dumb. And I was like, all right. So he came on, and then they won, and then the next day on his own, RJ Keene was like, hey, man, we won. We doing it again on Sunday? And I was like, if they let you, I guess we can. And then he's like, oh, Leon already said it's cool. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing it again then. And then since he won, they who knows now if it's going to have to be a regular thing till they lose. Leon's a little superstitious. I don't know, but he was, he's a good dude. You feel bad for him being out with his shoulder injury, but he did give some good insight. And he said on the pregame show that for the Sunday game that Shaver and Degenhart were both going to hit at least multiple threes in the game. So at halftime, I saw him coming out of the locker room and he goes, hey man, how are we looking on the stats? I said Degenhart needs one more. He's got one. And literally, like the first play of the second half, Degenhart hits a long three. I look at the bench, and with both hands, Keen's just pointing at me, basically saying, "I told you so, man. I told you. I called it." So, it is definitely a different vibe with the players on the basketball team. They actually say hello to you when they see you in the hotel. It's very nice and welcome. So I do appreciate them and always enjoy. It's one of the reasons I decided to give the basketball team so much coverage because they make it worth it to you to do it. So it was a good trip though. And who knows what these wins will end up being, Jay, but it's crazy. I said this on the show and I kind of said it to Leon and he didn't, flat out admit this, but like you look at all the way the bracket broke down and the other teams that lost, like if they would have beat Charlotte, they could have easily won the tournament, but they would have played Tulsa and UMass and they would have basically not got any quality wins while they were out there, at the field, but they would have got 3 wins and had a trophy and say they were the champions. That's great. The way it worked out, they lost to Charlotte, but they still accomplished their goal of playing Loyola Chicago and playing Colorado and end up picking up 2 quality wins. So I'm not going to say 2-1 is better than 3-0, but in this situation, you got 2 better wins that probably help you in the computer rankings, come later in the season.
Yeah, and on top of that, just the way that it fell too, they didn't play Texas A&M, and they have to play Texas A&M here in a week or 2 or whatever. So it didn't fall bad. I mean, I think if you asked them, they would have rather just ran the table. But if you want to go glass half full approach, this wasn't a bad alternative by any means. And
they got 2 better wins than they would have gotten if they won the tournament.
And I know that you're talking about metrics and NCAA resume and stuff like that right now, but again, above and beyond anything else, they got better, right? Like, and that was a encouraging thing I think to see, because you go out to those tournaments and they had the off day on Saturday, but I mean, this early in the season, heck, at any point in the season, you're playing 3 games in 4 days. That's a grind, especially when you go cross country flight, 3 games, 4 days. Cross-country flight back home. Luckily, they got a couple of days before they play again. But that's definitely a little bit of a test. And, I mean, it's a long ways away from now. But, just how they probably approach some of these games, the turnarounds they practice and stuff. I mean, those are all things that you're going to utilize come Mountain West tournament time when, if you want to win that thing, you have to win 3 games in 3 days. And, I mean, depending on how it goes, maybe in 4-4, but more likely a 3-3 scenario. So. It was awesome to see them get better, and I again, above and beyond anything else, just improve and play with confidence. And that's the team that we saw the last 2 days. I mean, this might be just an obvious thing to say, but the team we saw in the last 2 days, that's a team that's going to make life difficult for opponents in the Mountain West.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, you look at the 5 games they've played, and I looked it up, and it took a little while. Actually, I felt like Jay just looking at random stats that no one cares about for like an hour. And maybe that's
nobody cares about.
That's not what I didn't phrase that correctly. I guess you're putting all this work in for a stat on Twitter is what I'm saying for myself, where you're not really getting like, paid for the tweet or whatever, but you're spending the time. You've done that, I'm sure. You go back and look at all these game logs, and it's great to tweet it out, and then it's like, okay, well, I didn't just get some extra $10 for that tweet or whatever.
Yeah, so, I hear you. You went on a long rabbit hole, and sometimes
so I went to every single team's schedule on KenPom in the entire country, 362, I think it was. And Boise State and Texas Southern are the only 2 that have played at least 5 games, and they're all against top 145 teams. So, I mean, Boise State has played, maybe they haven't played that like number 1 type team like Gonzaga or somebody, but the overall quality of their 5 opponents is better than literally 360 of the other 361 teams in the country. They're playing quality teams, and they could have played, Idaho or somebody in the 300s and got a big win over them. But Leon truly believes that if you play the better teams, you'll find out the areas that you have to improve in. And he thinks the schedule come Mountain West play, they're going to be way more battle tested than maybe a Wyoming or someone that's playing a bunch of nobodies early in the season. And you see like Wyoming's even lost a couple of those games, those aren't even sure wins either. So if you looked at these 5 games before the season, you knew these were the 5 teams you're going to play. You probably would have liked to have been 4-1. I think you would have liked one more, either the Charlotte or the South Dakota State game. But I don't think 3-2 is by any means terrible. I think you would take 3-2 if that was, one of the options, the way it worked out. And with that, as I said, you have, a win over number 54 Colorado, a number 73, Washington State. So you've already got 2 top 75 wins in your first 5 games. There's a lot to go for resumes and Ken Pom and Torvik and Net and all that stuff. It's a long time.
We're ways from Net, aren't we?
I think the round New Year's is when the net starts to come in. Yeah. Maybe I should start my own hashtag, Rain Stats. There we go. Jay's thoughts on Najee Smith starting. We kind of hinted at that might happen, Jay, where they were going to mix up the starting lineup a little bit. They did. Obviously, it makes you go a little smaller. And I was a little interested in the game against Colorado. I mean, Colorado starts as 7-1 center. I was wondering if they were going to have to go back and go big, but they started Najee Smith, and he had 10 points in the first 10 minutes of the game. Yeah. He was huge, and then he fouled out, which I was sitting next to the Colorado radio announcers, and I hear him, it's midway through the second half, and I hear him go, and that's foul 5. Najee Smith's gone. I'm like, wait, what? It just kind of cropped up on me that because he wasn't even playing that much, and I guess he picked up a lot of fouls. But he scored 10 points all in the first half in that second game. The first game, he had a couple of putbacks. I do think the uniqueness, I guess if that's the right word, of Najee Smith with his size and what he does and some of the shots he puts up. I do think that he is a guy that certainly is. Someone says no sound. We should be fine. Hopefully that's just you, Nicholas. But I think Najee Smith is, an interesting switch to the starting lineup. What did you make of that?
Yeah, some of those finishes that he had in the last couple games were they were really impressive. Not impressive for Naj, impressive for anybody. He looked a little fadeaway at one point in time in the key, and I was really impressed with Naj. And I think the thing about him is that, I'm not saying that anybody doesn't like playing with anybody else on that team, but Naj just has that feel of a guy that just makes people around him better because teammates like him, and he'll run through a wall for you, which means you're going to want to run through a wall for him. And it'll be interesting. At some point in time, they're going to need Lucas Milner. Again, when you go up against the San Diego States of the world and stuff like that, whether it even be 5 fouls or rebounding, you're going to need Lucas Milner. When he's not on the court, you don't really have a rim protector as well. I mean, they go pretty small when they take him off the floor. They got a number of 6'7" dudes running around out there, which is it's a luxury compared to what they've had in the past when it comes to that size and length. But still, you're going to need Lucas Milner at some point in time. But for right now, looking for a spark, Leon pushed the right buttons.
Hey, they're guaranteed to go 2-0 this week with football and basketball because you got Karen Rains and the boys are going to be in town. My wife is excited to be able to go to the football and basketball games this week. So, yeah, looking forward to having them back. You'll see the Rains boys running around Extra Mile Arena on Saturday. Is that an afternoon game on Saturday? I think I saw it was 2 o'clock or something.
Thank God.
The Utah Valley game on Saturday is 2 o'clock.
We got Apple Cup coming up, 8:30 Mountain Time. It's late for the rest of the world, but for me, it means that I will be done with my day and can actually watch. So
Jordan says Najee is the man. The game looks too fast for Mosilla so far. Yeah, he has been a little bit of a disappointment to start with. Milner played better against Colorado. Josh, I started the broadcast late because I forgot to send Jay the link. So I did not able to get through the proper ways on YouTube for you to find out about the broadcast. So I do apologize for that. Hey, I do want to talk football here, but I want to thank a couple of our great sponsors. We are in the Cutwater Canned Cocktail Studios. Make sure you check those out. More than 30 flavors of premium pre-mixed cocktails at your local grocery store or gas station. Again, at Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktails. Rowpaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. It's a perfect time to get the interior painting done in your home. They're offering some great deals right now, especially if you live in the Twin Falls area. BNN Twin 23 is the promo code. BNN Twin 23. They can also use this to tell if their advertising is working or not. So if you're considering it, help us out and use them for some sort of interior painting job. You can check it at rowpaint.com and enter the promo code there when you're looking for your price quote. You get 23% off if you're in the Twin Falls area. Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. The full inventory is available online. You can compare there and then go on in and test drive and already know which vehicle you're looking for and then be ready to drive it off the lot there in no time like the Rains family did. So check them out online, lithiafordboise.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com, the official bank of Bronco Nation News and the official bank of the Reigns family. It's so easy. I tell you every week, but I've gone in there one time, and that was when I signed up the account. Never had to go back in. You can do it all from your phone and your computer. It's just so easy, and they're great staff, and just check them out. Idaho Central Credit Union. We appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News and Transportation Compliance Service. If you're looking to become a truck driver, looking for a new job, look no further than TCS. Whether it's the Amazon truck in your neighborhood, the big rig on the screen, they can help you get into the trucking industry and getting all the permits and things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. Check them out, transcomservice.com. And let's go Ridley's Family Market. Shop Ridley's.com. 13 Idaho locations, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. Check them out at Ridley's Family Markets. And the blueandorange.com is offering $40 orders with free shipping. That's right. Make an order of at least $40 and you get free shipping at the blueandorangestore.com. Check them out, the blueandorangestore.com, or on the second story there at the Boise Town Square Mall. We appreciate them. By the way, Jay, I am filling in, as I said, 3 to 6 today with Mike Prater. One of our guests will be Tommy Ahlquist with Top Golf opening. That's going to be exciting. I drove by there. I'm curious how the scoring is going to work, because I've been to some other Top Golfs where the targets are a little more raised and there's a little different. They must have some newer technology, or I'm hoping it's not lesser quality technology at this one. But if you notice, it's just one flat. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about or has been to Top Golf.
Oh, no,
before,
they have like the cages the ball drops down into for points, and this one just has like turf.
It's just it's just a regular driving range where they just change the color of the turf on the ground. I'm hoping it's some newer technology where you don't need that and it can still tell if it hits the target or whatever. But it is noticeable to me, because all the other ones I've been in, there is more of like an actual hole you're trying to funnel it into. And so I am curious about that, but looking forward to talking about that with Tommy Ahlquist. I guess they had a soft opening, so I guess it's kind of open. You can even go out there, I believe, but Monday will be the full official opening.
I've been looking at maybe getting over there. So yeah, that would be a lot of fun. How about a BNN retreat? What's going on here?
We will make that happen. Yeah, we're still trying to make that happen for the Mariners-Cardinals game next April, but on a smaller scale, drinks and golf over at Top Golf. I think something we can make happen. Tell
Tommy, thank you for building the nets high enough. I don't think I can hit a hook over those things.
The net is only about 215 or 20 yards away, I believe. So if you can drive, 350 like Jay can, you'll at least hit the back net. But that famous was it Mike Trout where he just like hits the ball into it just disappears. Yeah. That's gonna be Jay. That's gonna be Jay. Top Golf. Yeah. The ball just disappears into the Idaho night. On a tee shot, but I am looking forward to that and checking it out. That should be. It's always nice to have new attractions added to the Treasure Valley. And when I flew back in yesterday, we flew right over it, and it was pretty cool to see from the sky what it adds to the the skyline, I guess, in Meridian. I guess I can't get no commented here, but I guess we are allowed to talk about the football team being in the championship game. Andy Avalos wants no part of that. The coaches want no part of that. They are focused solely on Utah State and Friday's senior morning game, 10 a.m. game on the Blue. I'll be curious what the crowd is, Jay. Nothing's on the line. It's Black Friday. If you were going to be a walk-up guy to go buy tickets, you think you might wait and buy them to the championship game now. Hopefully they get a good crowd for their sake. I'm not sure they will. We'll see. But, it's a weird situation. It is a game that literally means nothing. I know the players, the coaches, all of them wouldn't say that. But in terms of and maybe nothing's not the right word. It means nothing for the division race or for their postseason hopes, I guess you could say, because they know they're in the championship game the following week. They got in there with a nice win, crazy finish against Wyoming, and they're set up looking nice here moving forward. They're one win away in the title game from going to the LA Bowl.
I think when you look back on history, 10-win seasons look cool, right? They're 8-3 right now. They knock off Utah State, who they're favored to beat by 2 touchdowns on Friday, and you win the championship or the bowl game, and you're at 10 wins. And so 10-win seasons look pretty darn cool. I will say, sorry, and I know that we'll talk about the Mountain West Championship game a lot next week. Oh, that's going to be worth the price of admission, I think. Seeing Jay Kaner and Taylor Green go at it, I think that's going to be worth the price of admission. But, this Utah State team, man, they're kind of squirrely. There have been games this season where they just haven't even – it doesn't seem like they even show up. And then there are games this season that they've won, and it doesn't seem like they have any business winning them. They won a tight game last week against San Jose State, and the Spartans got a good squad. So, it'll be interesting to see how motivated Utah State is to show up at Albertson Stadium at 10 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving. You know, they obviously have to go out on the road. So it'll be interesting to see how, you know, they show up. And the one thing that might help Boise State too, Utah State's already got bowl eligibility locked up. They got their 6th win last week. So, yeah, it'll be that's going to be a game of who wants to be there. No doubt about it, in my opinion. And I think that you've seen how badly the lengths that Andy Avalos and the coaches over there are going to basically not even acknowledge the Mountain West Conference championship game. They're dialed on this thing. I mean, they don't want to talk about the Mountain West championship game. They don't want to reference it. They're like nothing. I mean,
and I will say this: I thought. I would just say this. I thought the question that Jordan had was a very valid one. The fact that you have a lot of guys that are banged up right now. I'm not saying you just bench Taylen Green to keep him healthy, but there's guys like DJ Schramm, a lot of these guys that are playing with they're really banged up. If you could give them, you know, either the week off or play them less snaps to try to keep them a little fresher for the championship game the following, I think it's a no-brainer. I know I'm not saying you don't try to win the game. I'm not saying you just punt till next week and run the ball up the middle every play and don't show anything for Fresno. I mean, no, you try to win the game, but I think there's a way to mix in some younger guys a little bit and give some of these guys that have been your workhorses and, you know, the Cade Beresfords of the world that have played every snap almost this season, give them a couple series off if you can, or maybe not play them at all. And I think Schramm's banged up. Yeah, everybody on this team is banged up this time of year, but I think coaches have said he's playing with multiple things right now. I mean, I just think that, in my opinion, I thought that was a legit question. Do you consider that, or do you just say, no, we're going to win on Friday and not worry about it? And then it was a no comment next question because it had even the smallest thing to do with the championship game. But I thought the premise of that was fair.
Yeah, I will say this. I also think it's just knowing Boise State, that's probably just not anything they're going to provide you even in the best case scenario, right?
That's fine, but the premise and the topic I think is a fair topic. Do you consider resting some guys that are banged up?
I mean that's one for honestly probably us to debate and discuss, right? Because I think that this is going to be a case where you see Boise State get up a little bit. It's going to be important if they can get up 2-3 touchdowns. I mean, that's when you'll probably see them push the depth a little bit because, you know, you mentioned a guy like Cade or OJ. I mean, those are your 2 bookend tackles. They have damn near played every single snap. I mean, it was the Colorado State game where they finally rotated in some other offensive linemen. I feel like those guys were even in there a little bit longer than, you know, all the other starters when they were removed. Those guys have played a lot of football this year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It will. But, you know, I think that to see this team go on the road in Laramie, I would probably say that I think that they'd admit this to you. I think that was probably a C game for Boise State. Like, they didn't play great. They turned the ball over a couple times. One was, you know, down when they were driving, near the red zone. The other was late in the game where, gosh, that could have just been really awful. The defense allowed a couple explosive runs we haven't seen them allow, you know, since the season opener, really. I think that they probably played a C game, and they still came up with a couple of clutch late plays to pull that thing out. And loved what you saw out of Taylen Green on that go-ahead touchdown drive. You know, we were talking about this with Dirk Cutter yesterday, and, you know, there's a lot of people that have the opinion out there, does Taylen need to run the ball more? Does he need to throw the ball more? It's like because of his athleticism, he'll forever be, you know, critique of what the perfect balance is, right? But I will say on that go-ahead drive, BJ, man, when he got the ball in his hands, you know, just from that snap, you could tell like he was in kill mode. Like you could tell he was like, I got the ball in my hands. I'm comfortable. I'm confident. I want to go win this game for my team. He kept it a couple of times on those read options where, you know, it might have just been his choice to say, this is my quick read. This is what I see, but I feel comfortable with the ball in my hands. I'm going to get outside, pick up a first down. He had a big throw to Billy Bowens, who made a great catch on that play. So it was I felt after the BYU game when that drive didn't wind up the way they wanted it to at the end of the game. I still felt like they would have success the next time it presented itself, and they did that against the Cowboys.
Yeah, it'll be it was a nice win, nice comeback. It was the first game, I think, in the 10 plus years that I've been here with you where we both missed the same game. So it was weird watching that game on TV, but was with some of the staff and some of the folks that had made the trip to Myrtle Beach. We were watching the game at a local spot, and it had the sound down, so couldn't hear what was going on. And when that fumble happened and the guys just running the other way with the ball, it was just pure chaos. And then great tackle by Green, who we found out got offered, I guess, as a defensive end and a wide receiver at TCU back in the day. And then I don't know what Wyoming was doing. I mean, it doesn't matter now, but you guys has 3 completions all game while you're trying to force one into the end zone there. Just take your chances in overtime. But works in Boise State's favor. Huge game by J.L. Skinner. Congrats to him. 2 picks, defensive player of the week in the Mountain West. And now it sets up a Black Friday game on Friday. And I do agree as we wrap this up. OK Bro Chill said 10-win season would be nice for Andy to kind of silence some of the chatter. If you win, you're at 8-3 right now, so you get a 9-win regular season. 9-3 is a pretty solid regular season, especially given where it was at 2-2. And then if you win the championship game, you're 10-3 going into a bowl game. I think that's a pretty successful season. Even a loss in the bowl game, 10-4, is a major step up from the 7-5. So I do see that. And again, I'm not advocating you bench George Helani and Talon Green and everybody in this game and just play freshmen. I just think there might be some spots where you rotate some guys in for a series or 2 here and there, or just be a little careful with some guys that are banged up, or you don't push guys like Zeke Noah or Dimitri Washington or whoever else to play in this game. You give them the extra week as well, so they're ready to go maybe or have a better chance of playing. So I just think there are some ways you can take advantage of the fact that this game really, you're hosting the championship game the next week, but we'll see how they do it. After all the no comments, it's probably exactly what they'll do. They'll bench Talon Green and all this stuff, and who knows. But heading down to football practice, so we're going to wrap this up. They're on the field at 10 o'clock today, a little later with the no school this week. We got basketball interviews at 10:30. Football interviews after that, so a lot going on. And then you can hear me 3 to 6 with Mike Prater today on KTIK radio. Jay will be back. Well, I guess we won't be back Friday. We'll have to figure this out. Maybe we can tape something and play it as a combo show, pregame show. I don't know. We'll have to figure this out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I always love on the air where I don't think about it. It seems like once a week I'm like, oh, well, we're not having a show Thursday for Thanksgiving. Now we got to figure out Friday. What time are you guys on the air Friday?
9 to 10.
9 to 10 on Friday morning. Yeah, we'll may have to see if we can sneak in a shorter one that we can tape or something. I'll talk to you off. I'll talk to you off air. But appreciate it. For all you basketball fans out there, tonight 7 o'clock. It'll stream at KTVB.com, KTVB Plus, or if you have 24/7 on your TV network, you can check it out too. But the Mayor's Cup, College of Idaho versus NNU. You got the board ready? Can we see the board? Can we see the board?
It's you know what? You can. I got it on my computer. I'm not handwriting it anymore. I found a way to kind of expedite the process a little bit. So I'll tweet out a picture of it or something. But I'll be on the call. It's a blast. I haven't called a game in almost 3 years because of COVID. Like it's the last time I did this was 2019. But it's an awesome game, awesome community atmosphere. Check it out if you can, y'all.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a good 7 o'clock tonight. The Mayor's Cup. Who's the favorite? Is it NNU or C of I?
Man, great question. I'm going to lean C of I, but NNU is really, really tough to beat on their home floor in this series. So they're going to bring it. I got a feeling tonight.
Well, check that out tonight, and then check out Saturday morning 9 to 10 Jay's pregame, or Friday morning 9 to 10 Jay's pregame show on the field before the Utah State game. A lot of coverage, KTVB, KTVB.com. We appreciate our partnership with them and them allowing Jay to do these shows. So make sure you check out KTVB. Jay, appreciate your time. We'll see you down at BSU in a little while, and have a great rest of your day, man, and good luck on the call tonight.
Sounds good, bud. Give the wife and kids hugs from you. Stoked to get
I will. Looking forward to it, man. Appreciate it. Have a good day, man.
You too.
There he is, Jay Tust, KTVB, and have a great day, folks. Bronco Nation.